Welcome to the Everyday Conversion Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Sieverkrop, and I am just like you. I'm busy with work, family, kids, church, and a million other responsibilities. And honestly, some days I miss my personal scripture study and prayers. And some days we as a family miss our scripture study and prayer. But I'm trying. So if you're not perfect in living the restored gospel of Jesus Christ, but you're trying, we'll get along great, and this is the place for you. 5 days a week, I'll share a brief episode, often based on the Come Follow Me curriculum for that week that I'm using to have daily conversations with my kids, whether we're on our way to school or on our way home, or if it's real quick before dinner. And you're welcome to use them to do the same with your family or your personal study. Just know that the views and opinions I share are mine alone and do not represent the official doctrine and viewpoint of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Now let's jump right in with today's episode. All right, welcome back to the Everyday Conversion Podcast. This is episode 46, and like always, you can get the links to everything we talk about today at everydayconversion.com/BOM46. And today, I decided to do something that I think is really important, and I try to do this more, or I should do this more often than I do. But I went back and I reviewed my notes. I reviewed my notes from General Conference, and I was really trying to see, just kind of reading through them at first and figuring out exactly what notes I had taken and what had stuck out to me. Because, the thing about your notes is, I feel like my notes are in some ways more valuable, but I don't want to say more valuable. I feel like my notes are extremely valuable in conjunction with what is said. And the reason is my notes are the things that impressed me and that really stuck out to me, which means more than likely they're the things that the Spirit was teaching me as I was listening. So I went through and I've got, let's see, from 191 to 213. So what is that? That's 22 pages of notes just from General Conference. So this is my study journal if you're watching this on Instagram, and those are all of the notes that I took. And as I read through them, there was a lot of things that I really, really liked. And I noticed there's a few talks that I really liked that I'm going to have to go back and listen to, but they were all really good. And as I read through them, I was reminded again of what my son said during conference that I shared with you in yesterday's episode. You can get the link to that in the show notes. Or if you're listening to this in iTunes or Spotify, you can just go to the episode before, episode 45. But he said, it seems like they're all telling us to hear him. Yep, bud, they are. And that's kind of what I came down to. And I realized was I wanted to look and see what the keys to receiving revelation were from my notes, the things that I learned from my notes. Now, this, of course, is not an extensive and comprehensive list of everything that was taught as far as how to receive revelation from conference, but they're the things that I got from it. And so I went through and I wrote down all these. And here's just a few. I'm not going to share them all because I have two pages of things that I listed. But seek in every way we can to hear Him. Learn to receive revelation by reading the scriptures. Receiving revelation takes effort. Embrace, remember, and write down sacred memories. Setting goals connects to heaven, connects us to heaven, and helps us to receive revelation. Remembering God. Be more intentional in trying to hear Christ. Feast upon the words of Christ daily. Attend the temple regularly. Increase your spiritual capacity to receive revelation. Study the message of the restoration. Humbly seek God. Prayer. The prayer of faith is key to receiving revelation, and several others. And it really helped me to crystallize that this entire conference was about revelation and receiving revelation. I know I talked about that yesterday too. But as I was doing it, I thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool to have a list of all of these things that I found in my notes about receiving revelation? So I created a list. If you're looking at this on Instagram, you'll see my list. I printed it out. It says Keys to Receiving Revelation from April 2020 General Conference. I have every one that I wrote down along the left-hand side, and then along the right-hand side, I have who wrote it or who said it. And I decided that I would make this pretty. And if you're looking at this on Instagram on the video, you'll notice that I actually printed mine on like resume paper because I feel like for me, when something's on resume paper, I value it differently than just plain white paper. And that's just the way, that my mind works. And so I thought, at first I was like, well, maybe somebody else would want this. I don't know. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. If you want a copy though, I was like, well, okay, I'll create a landing page and you can enter your email and I'll send it to you. And then I decided, you know what? I just want to give it to people. I just want people to have it. If you want to have it, I want to share it with you. So I'm going to put a link in the show notes where you can just download it. You can just go and get it. So if you want it and you want to print it out and use it for yourself and have these keys, then by all means, you're welcome to have it. If you don't, cool, no problem. And also, I saw a lot of people yesterday really liked the picture that I took of the notes that I made of my proclamation. So I'm showing this on Instagram now too, where I put some cross references and some notes that I had and wrote some things in the margin and underlined some things. I saw several people really like that. And I saw a few people that said that they were going to steal it so they could study my notes. And I just sent them a text with the image. But I figured if somebody wants that, feel free. Like, I mean, it's not official doctrine of the church. These are not official footnotes or anything like that. But if it helps you to study it, then I'm happy to share that. So I'm going to put that in the show notes too at everydayconversion.com/BOM46. Not asking for anything, nowhere to enter your email. You don't have to sign up for anything. Just download them and use them. Now, that being said, if you like them, I would encourage you and I would love if you would, one, sign up for the email list so that you get notified when I do new episodes. And two, make sure you subscribe to the podcast and listen to it. Not only subscribe, but listen. I would love to have you do that. And you can do that if you go to everydayconversion.com/BOM46. There's a link at the bottom of the show notes for today's episode that allows you to subscribe to the podcast. There's just a button or a text link that says click here to subscribe to the podcast. So subscribe to the podcast. So you can do that on your favorite podcast listening platform. And when you do, I would love for you, after you listen to a few, to leave a rating and review. That's how people find the podcast. And, I love sharing what I've learned. I've shared in past episodes that, one of the things that my patriarchal blessing says is that I have the ability to explain the truths that I've learned in the gospel in an understandable manner. And so by doing this podcast, I feel like I'm really trying to, magnify my gifts and magnify the things I'm doing. And I love sharing these things with you. So if you find it valuable, I would love for you to subscribe to the email list. I'd love for you to subscribe to the podcast and leave a rating review so that I can share this with more people. I would love to have you do that. So again, if you want to have them, or you want to even just download it to see what my list was, you can get my list of keys to receiving revelation that I got from the April 2020 General Conference. And you can also see my notes from the proclamation. This one's folded. If you're watching this on Instagram, it's folded because I folded up and put it in the back of my study journal. So I have it. So if you want either one of those or both of those, feel free to download them. Like I said, nothing to sign up for, no email needed, nothing. But yeah, you can have those. So it was really cool for me to study today and to go through and just ask myself, what are the keys that I got, and read through my notes, see the notes that really stuck out to me now that it's a couple days later, that I've had a couple of days to think about it, now that I've restudied the proclamation, and really just kind of internalize and understand, and so that I can apply what I've learned from conference. And really what it came down to was receiving revelation. And there was a ton of stuff that I learned initially when I listened to the conference. And then as I went back and read through my notes, and I just distilled out the keys to receiving revelation that I got as I was listening to the conference. And if you have others, I would love to hear them. Please share them with me. Share it in the comments on Instagram or in Facebook, or shoot me an email and share them with me. Would love to hear those. So like I said, you can get the links to everything we talked about today at everydayconversion.com/BOM46, including the ability to download my bicentennial proclamation with all of my notes and cross references and thoughts that I put on it, and my list of the keys to receiving revelation that I got from April 2020 General Conference. So thanks so much for listening. I appreciate you. I appreciate you watching. If you're watching this on Instagram, if you're not watching this on Instagram and you want to, make sure you go to everydayconversion.com/Instagram, and you can subscribe to follow the podcast there. And you'll get the videos to many of these episodes, because I'm trying to record them both audio and video so that I can share those in that manner. So have a great day, and we will see you in the next episode.
All right, that's it for today. Now, I know you want to hang out with me longer, but we both have a ton of things to do today, including living the gospel and trying to be like Jesus. Cue primary children singing.
I'm trying to be like Jesus.
But hey, if you want to get the links to everything we talked about today, you can find it on the episodes page of everydayconversion.com. You can also do cool stuff like subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast listening platform, sign up for email notifications of new episodes, and connect with us on social media there. It's kind of like a virtual church library without the militant librarians or a piece of paper to sign out your 3 tiny pieces of chalk for your lesson. Also, just remember, I do my best to make sure my opinions are in line with official church doctrine, but they are just that. They're my opinions. For official doctrine and viewpoints, I recommend you go to churchofjesuschrist.org or comeuntochrist.org.